Hello there guys, this is iPay token. I want to explain what's just happened. First and foremost, there is no need to panic. There's not been a rug pull or anything like that, and everything is going to be put right. But of course, someone did sell off a huge amount of tokens, so that has affected the price. But not as much as this graph makes it look. So I'm going to go through the details of this graph, let you know what has happened, what is happening over the next few hours, and what's going to happen later on this evening. So later on this evening, you will receive the same number of tokens that you were holding on iPay, on a new iPay, on a new contract with a new contract address. We'll send you those tokens automatically by an airdrop, and we'll also give you some nice, easy instructions to add them to your wallet. Now, those tokens will have the same value as the moment where we effectively paused the contract, which was about here. So that's when we stopped the bleed. But unfortunately, obviously, a person did cash out. They took about $100,000, so the price crashed for that. So we are putting some things in place on the new contract. We're changing a few things, we're fixing a few problems, and we're putting some safety measures in place to protect all of us, because we're all invested in this, from other people dumping tokens. So, first of all, let's talk about what happened. Someone dumped about 60,000 tokens last night, caused a bit of a panic. We started to recover. I think a few people woke up and they saw it had happened and they started to cash out. And we went through this pattern a few times. Then a few people started to sell off, and then one person very, very quickly sold off $100,000. Now, our liquidity, which is this number right here, at the moment it's $53,000, but that was around about $500,000 at the time. Our market cap, which is this number, was around about $32 million. Now, this number here is supposed to be about 20% of that one. That's the ideal position to be in. But of course, $500,000 is not 20% of 32 million. About 6 million is. So our liquidity was very, very low. When your liquidity is low, it means that if a person sells tokens, it has a big impact on the chart, which is why we got that giant red candle. So let's very quickly cover why the liquidity was much lower than it should be. The liquidity is fed when we take a tax when people buy and sell. Every time you buy and sell tokens, we take a small amount, usually about 3%, and we use that money to increase this number here. So that's what happens on a contract. So if a contract is very volatile with lots and lots of people buying and selling, then we're taking lots of money in those transactions, and this number goes up nicely, which is great. That's what we need. Lots of buys, lots of sells. But that didn't really happen with iPay. What happened was very unusual. We had people buy this token and they bought huge amounts of it, like $20,000, $10,000, but nobody was really selling. So normally we see a huge amount of volatility, and to get to a market cap of $30 million, we have to have thousands and thousands of holders and a huge amount of volume. So lots of buys and sells. We didn't have that at all. We had a few hundred people who knew the use case of this token. They believed in it long term, so they put in a lot of money. They were putting in $20,000 at a time. Now, when that happens, this number at the top goes up very, very quickly. So that number went up to about $30 million really fast, which is unprecedented for a token that is so new. Whereas this number here, which is the liquidity, that number didn't go up because there was very, very little volatility. So the gap between these numbers got bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, we could see this and we were worried. So we were very aware that there could be a person who would sell, cash out their wallet, and they could crash the price. So that was a concern. Someone did do that, as we can see by the chart. So yeah, it was a big concern. It did happen. However, we're going to use that as an opportunity to start afresh. So at the moment, if the chart was here to the point where they dumped, we'll ignore this bit just for now, and you arrived at this token, you probably would think, I don't want to buy this, the chart looks terrible, people are dumping, and you'd move on. When we redeploy, we will redeploy with a chart which is completely green. Now, the chart can only go up to here. It can't go all the way up to the top again on the redeploy because people have taken this money. We can't go and find those people and get the money back. But thankfully, they are gone. We're only a few days old. So the people that have cashed out $100,000 today, I mean, that's like the guys that cashed out $100,000 at the beginning of SafeMoon. And now they're looking at like $50 million. So this was a person that had a decent amount of the supply. They sold $100,000, but now they're gone. So that's good. So they've sold, they moved on. They're not going to crash the price at some time in the future. And now other people can buy those tokens a little bit cheaper. So we kind of want that to happen. We just don't want it to happen on this magnitude because it scares the hell out of people. Now, the healthiest that any chart can be is for one person to dump a lot of tokens, like a whale to sell and take profits, and then lots of people to buy those tokens. And if that keeps happening over and over and over again, it feeds this number, increases the liquidity, it puts money into the marketing wallet, and it makes the token healthy. That's what we need. But unfortunately, when nobody is doing that, everybody is holding, and then one person sells, it ends up being quite scary. And other people see it and they panic. So someone sold $100,000. That took us down to here. And then this kind of little, if I can zoom in on this a bit, you can see that it's this was the person selling $100,000. And then that created somewhat of a panic. Let's just try and get this a little bit better. And this kind of staircase going down is people noticing that this has happened, and then they are panic selling. So that's what's going on to this point right here. Now, when that happened, we became aware of the problem. We were in a meeting at the time. Simon, Marty and I were all in a meeting, and we saw this happen, and our gut reaction was, we've got to stop the bleeding. We're losing money, our friends are losing money, and we need to stop this. So at that moment, we sold $385,000 worth of tokens. So if you saw that sell, $385,000 worth of tokens, that was us. So that money is safe, and that money is going to be used when we redeploy the token. So, I mean, if you saw that sell and it made you worry, there's no need to worry anymore. That was us. That money is safe. Nobody's gone running off with that. So we did that, and that crashed the chart all the way down to almost the floor. We couldn't drain all the liquidity out, which what we was trying to do is to remove all of this money. But we couldn't remove all of the money because there is some money which is locked in there, and it's trapped in there until the end of February. But we can pool our money together amongst the team that are behind this project, and we can make up that missing amount. So this is going to enable us to redeploy a new token, matching the liquidity of this token at the point where people had all panic sold, and we can airdrop all the people that are holding the tokens that you were holding at this point in time, so that you get the value. So once we've done that, the new chart won't look like this one. It won't go up and then come down and look horrible. It will just go up to this point. So the way we're going to redeploy is just going to paint the chart green. So new people that see the chart are more likely to FOMO in, as opposed to thinking, you know, this is dumping, I don't want to be involved. So we're going to have a nice, sexy chart, which is very important. We're also going to be rolling out a huge amount of marketing when this happens, and we're using this opportunity to fix a couple of situations that we have on the contract. One of the things that you guys probably noticed is we had a problem with slippage. Sometimes it was very, very difficult to buy, particularly on PancakeSwap and Trust Wallet, and you had to put really high slippage to make it go through, and a lot of failed transactions. We were aware of that problem, and we have fixed that. So the new contract will not have that problem. Buying the token will be easy, and we won't have that obstacle for new buyers to join us. Now, this is a really, really important thing, because we were able to do a temporary fix on this before, but it was only temporary, and we needed to be aware of the person that was struggling. So some people came into our Telegram and they said, I'm having trouble buying. So we were able to chat with them on direct message, fix the problem, and they could buy. But there will be lots of people that tried to buy, they were not successful, they didn't come and ask questions, and they just went elsewhere. And we missed out on those people becoming investors, which is a shame. So with the new contract, we're going to solve that problem. Now, there are a couple of other situations as well that were quite serious that we're also going to fix. Now, when you make a token, our token is called iPay, and it has to be paired with another token so that you can buy and sell it. So when you buy it, you give us some money and we give you some tokens, and we have to choose what type of money you can buy and sell with. So we chose BUSD. That is the Binance pegged version of US dollars, and it's a stable coin. It follows the actual value of the dollar. So if the dollar goes up and down, so does BUSD. That's why we chose it. It was a really good idea to choose BUSD as a stable coin for our use case. But that's really unusual. On Binance, BUSD is classed as a token. There is only one cryptocurrency on the Binance Smart Chain, and that is BNB. BNB is treated very, very differently on the Binance Smart Chain compared to BUSD. Now, I know this might sound like it's getting a little bit technical, but please bear with me. All of the tokens on the Binance Smart Chain, which is the platform where we buy and sell these tokens, they pair their token with BNB. So you give BNB, you get the token. You give the token, you get BNB. But we're not doing that. We're using BUSD instead. Now, for our use case, that was quite good. It offered us a lot of benefits. It offered a lot of stability. But it also caused a lot of problems. And some of those problems we had not anticipated the magnitude of them. One of the problems was that there are tools available that you can pop the contract address in, and it will tell you how safe a contract address is. However, those tools, particularly honeypot.io and Token Sniffer, they look for a pairing of your token and BNB. They cannot recognize a pairing that is in a different token, so like BUSD instead of BNB. So all of those tools gave us a score of 0 out of 100. They all thought we were a honeypot, which is a contract where you can buy but you can't sell. So that is causing us problems. Now, you need to consider that there are people with money who find a project and then they need to decide if they want to buy or not. And one of the things that help them to decide is to take that contract address and post it into these tools that are going to help them to identify whether it's a scam or whether it's genuine. Now, because of the unusual way our token works, almost all of those tools were coming back saying this is a scam. And of course, those people weren't coming to our Telegram group to say, why did this say it's a scam? They were just taking their money elsewhere. So although our token had a huge increase, it could have been a lot higher because there's a lot of buyers out there that simply checked the token, thought it was a honeypot, and just didn't buy. So we're going to solve that problem. There is another problem as well, which is a little bit technical, but it's very serious. This problem is our liquidity pair of iPay and BUSD. There is a website called Dex Tools where a lot of people go to get their information about these tokens. Now, Dex Tools, similar to Token Sniffer and honeypot.io, Dex Tools also do not recognize our particular liquidity pair. However, they do see money going in and out of it all the time. Every single buy and every single sell goes in and out of this address. On Dex Tools, they think that this address is just a normal wallet. So on Dex Tools, they see every single transaction through this wallet as a person that is taking money out of the token and putting it into a wallet. So on Dex Tools, it looks like a rug pull. It looks like someone's just stealing money over and over. In fact, over a 24-hour period on their website, they think that 400 BNB has been shifted from our token into somebody's external wallet, which absolutely wouldn't be possible based on the amount of volume that we're doing, but it's also not the way it's happening. Now, if that was a concern of yours, I'll just show you how you can double check this and reassure yourself. So if you click on our contract and you actually go to the read contract page, you can see this address here is the one that on DEX tools, it thinks it's a normal wallet that is just selling huge amounts of tokens. Well, it thinks the contract is giving that wallet money by selling tokens. That's what it thinks, and that's what a lot of people are seeing. But if I click on this, you can see that this is actually a contract. And PancakeSwap and BSC Scan, they recognize it for what it truly is. So they've given it a name. So they have called it Pancake LP, Cake LP. Now, if you go to any other token and you click on their liquidity pair address that represents their token and BNB, you'll find a page exactly the same as this one. And it has a contract, which is the factory of PancakeSwap, which is actually used to do the exchange. And you can see that contract right here. So you can see very clearly that this is not a normal wallet. Your wallet doesn't look like this. This is a contract which is at PancakeSwap, which represents our token and BUSD, and it enables people to buy and sell. So yeah, a lot of people were looking at this and they were very, very worried, thinking that it was somebody who is simply taking money out of the contract. So this section here, all of these transactions are every single buy and sell throughout the entire life of this token that has gone that goes through this liquidity pair on PancakeSwap. But every single one of these that you can see right here on DEX tools, that looks like just a person's wallet receiving money. And I tell you what, that's pretty terrifying. If you see that, then you're not going to buy into a token because you just think someone's just rinsing all the money every few seconds. And you can see it's happening right now as people buy and people sell. So all that is, and I do want to reassure you if you had seen it and you were worried about it, as the contract shows, it is very simply a contract that represents a pair of our token and BUSD on PancakeSwap. Now, this brings us on to another situation. That pairing of our token and BUSD, that meant that we couldn't have automatic liquidity. Now, our liquidity, which is this number, was already suffering anyway because of the nature of the way people had bought the token and there was very little volatility. So that was already a very big problem. But that problem was made worse because we were not able to have the contract automatically take tokens in a fee and then use that money to add liquidity. Now, when you pair with BNB, that's incredibly easy to do, and every contract does that. But when you pair with BUSD, that doesn't work. BUSD is treated very, very differently to BNB, so we had to do that process manually. So here's the problem. When you buy, the price is going up, and the price has consistently gone up. So let's just take this little area of the chart just here. So let's say that you bought some tokens here, and we took a fee from you of 3% of your transaction, and we take that in tokens. And we swap those tokens, well, we actually split it in two. So we take half of that number of tokens and we sell them to get some BUSD. This means that we have some BUSD and we have some tokens, and both of those have exactly the same value because we've just sold them. When you have a contract with automatic liquidity, in the very same second, you add those tokens and that BNB into your liquidity pool. However, because we can't do that automatically, we had to do it manually. So we can't do it on every transaction. We have to just do it every few hours. So by the time we get to do it, like maybe here, I mean, this is a 1 minute chart. So this is just a few minutes later, a few hours later, it's all the way up here. The price has gone up. So that means the contract sold those tokens here for $1 value. And by the time we're trying to add them into liquidity, we're up here, and the tokens that we've already sold are now worth a lot more money. So we've got less dollars than we should have. Now, because of that, we stopped allowing the contract to sell those tokens in order to be able to put in the liquidity. So it was at that point where the fees that we were taking from people were just in tokens and nothing else. And they were all collecting in a wallet. And then at appropriate times, we were selling some of those tokens to pay for marketing. And we were also selling some of those tokens to add more liquidity. Now that wallet, with the collection of all of those tokens in it, is what I sold at this point here. And at that point, the tokens in the wallet were worth $385,000. So that is why we have this giant red candle. But as I said previously, all of that money is sitting in that wallet. It is completely safe. And that is the money which we are going to add into the liquidity on the new token. So I know that there's a lot of people who hold this token that are very, very new to crypto, and this video must have been seriously confusing for you. So I'm going to do a little bit of a summary, hopefully that anyone could easily understand. What has happened is a lot of people bought the token, it shot up in price, and there were people that bought quite early that had huge gains from that, like a massive increase in their value. A couple of those people sold. They sold a lot. That crashed the price down to here. Other people saw it and they panicked and sold as well. Now, if we had not stepped in and done something about it, then the price would have just crashed to the floor. And every single one of us, you and me included, all of our tokens would be worthless. So God, we had to stop that, which is what we've done. So the new contract, as well as having those fixes, so the slippage is going to be better. We're not going to have that issue. We're going to have a BNB liquidity pair, which solves all those problems of those tools thinking we're a honeypot, and it makes auto liquidity easy. We will also have a BUSD liquidity pair to keep our token a little bit more stable, because BNB is volatile because the use case requires it to be more stable. So we'll have both, which fixes a lot of problems. And a lot of those problems are very, very technical, so I didn't want to go into them in too much detail. But trust me, as a developer, when the decision was made to do that BNB pair, it was that is exactly what I needed to hear. This was an insanely complicated contract to create. It took weeks instead of a few hours. And all of that was down to the BUSD pairing without a BNB pairing. And the contract has had problems as well since launch. And every single one of these every single one of these problems can be traced back to using this liquidity pair and not having the BNB pair. So that's why we're introducing the BNB liquidity pairing on the relaunch. So that's what happened. What is happening right now, after I've uploaded this video so all you guys can watch it, I will rewrite the contract with the BNB liquidity pair, and I'm also going to add some extra functionality in there to protect the holders. So if you sell a reasonable amount of tokens and you have respect for your other holders and it's not too much, you're not going to get taxed too highly. You'll get taxed like normal. But if you sell a lot of tokens, like this person that dumped 100,000 and this person that dumped 60,000, I mean, that's just not fair. It's not fair on anybody else that's holding. It crashes the price. And if you still have tokens in after selling that many, it's also crashing the price of your own tokens because you cause other people to panic. And when they panic and they sell, the tokens you've got left go down in value as well. So nobody wants that. Nobody. This token's only a few days old. The use case hasn't even started yet. We're not listed on CMC, but they're ready to go. Simon has contacted CMC and he's told them to hold back on the listing because we're going to redeploy with a fresh contract. We've also got a few other very big promoters that have been told the same thing. Now, for anybody new to crypto and don't know what CMC is, it's CoinMarketCap. It's a website where tokens are listed. It's very important to get your token on there. And when you do, it always gets a bit of a pump because there's a lot of people that will not take a token serious until it appears on that website. Now, that website is also really useful because if you're using Trust Wallet, you might have noticed that you can't see the dollar value of your token, but Trust Wallet gets its information from that website. So that will then show on your wallet. So there are lots and lots of reasons why this is going to be a good thing. So from here on in, we are doing the code. We are fixing all of the problems that we've had before with the BUSD issue. We will redeploy. We will add the liquidity to the new token. We will then put lots and lots of green candles on the chart so it will look lovely. And we're going to do that by buying all the tokens into one wallet. And we will then send you guys those tokens so that you get your value back. Now, obviously, your value isn't going to be all the way up here because that person and this person, they've taken money and we can't go and find those people and get it back. But your value is going to be at the point where that person dumped, and we're going to hit the road running on the new token with a huge amount of marketing so that this all-time high that we've got right here, in the future, we're going to be much, much higher than this because this token has an amazing use case. That's what's important here. It's the future. The people who saw these gains and they've cashed out this money, they've not seen the long-term potential of this. And I'm sure there's people at the beginning of projects like SafeMoon and things like that who are kicking themselves for taking 60,000 or 100,000 because that would be millions in the future. So trust that everything's okay. We've got a lot of very clever people that are making this right. And as soon as it's ready, you will be back in a position where you've got new tokens and they'll have value. And then we're going to increase the value by doing loads and loads of marketing. And we're also going to have some safety measures in place to protect you from future people dumping. But obviously, if you've got a lot of tokens, then we're all together. We've got to support each other. And we're not selling, and we ask you guys not to sell either. If you want to take some money out, you want to take some of your profits, by all means do so. But just make it a little amount. Don't put a giant red candle on the chart that's going to scare everybody else and make them sell. Just put a little red candle on the chart, take a little bit of profit, and let people take advantage of that little bit of a cheaper price that you've given to them. But the upshot is, once we've redeployed, you'll get your tokens. Now, I will say quickly before I shut this video down, trading isn't completely stopped. We don't have the ability to do that. So you can see down here, there are people that are buying all these tokens. We cannot stop them from buying the token. However, when we redeploy, we're going to be putting a huge amount of money into liquidity. At the moment, there's $50,000. When we redeploy, there's probably going to be $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 in there. So these people here that have bought a tiny amount of tokens for practically no money, when we redeploy, that number of tokens will be worth a fortune. So obviously, we're not going to send any of these people tokens on the new contract. That would be insane, because to buy these tokens at the price when it was up here would cost them thousands of dollars instead of like 20 cents or $2. So if you are buying tokens at the moment thinking that when we redeploy you're going to have a huge payday, that's not going to happen. It would be insane. So we're taking the snapshot from here. It's quite technical to do that, being as we cannot actually pause the contract, but that is the point from which we're going to go back and make sure people get their tokens. If you've bought tokens after this point, we're not going to be sending you those, because once we're back up here, the value of them is going to be tens of thousands of dollars, not $2 or $3, which is just crazy. So we can't do that. Right, that's all from me, guys. I am going to make a very short video version of this as well, but this is the more detailed and technical version, so you can dig into this one, obviously, if you wanted more detailed information, but I'll now make the short one. See you all soon. Take care.